So I hope that you guys are ready for what is likely to be one of the craziest stories you may have ever heard. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but this is a crazy story. And I'm excited to share it with you because this has been a year in the making. So last year we had an order in for a Tesla Model 3. So we got the Model 3 standard range on order. We got the base model, and at the time of that order, it was $39,990. So we were getting really close to taking delivery of that Model 3. I believe it was scheduled for like August of 21. And right about that time, Tesla released for the first time ever the LFP standard range Model 3. So the LFP pack was going to come from China while the car was still assembled and put together in Fremont, California. So this new variant came with 253 miles versus 262 that was standard at the time. When Tesla did roll that out, we decided to go ahead and pull the trigger really fast. The only way you could order it at the time was to pick one out of inventory, and we found one locally, and it had a couple of options. So we ended up paying $2,000 more because it was black and it had white interior. Now, of course, I love the white interior. We got that car sometime in September of 21, and we ended up getting that car at $41,990. And here's how the prices broke down back then. The base car was $39,990. We paid an extra $1,000 to have the white interior and an extra $1,000 to have the black exterior. So that brought it to $41,990. So now there is a $250 order fee and another $1,200 in additional fees that you had to pay on top of that. So the full price at that time was $43,440. Now, right after we took delivery of that car, which was only a couple weeks later, Tesla announced that all Standard Range Plus Model 3s would now be coming with an LFP battery pack from China. So it wouldn't be an off-menu product only, but all standard ranges. And the LFP battery pack provides a few benefits that its counterpart does not have. Number one, you can charge it to 100% daily. So compared to the same standard range, it actually had a more effective battery pack for day-to-day usage. Also, it was more cost-effective. So that battery pack was cheaper. Now, that didn't help us. That helps Tesla. So that's kind of a wash, but it also has more longevity. So you can run this thing at a higher state of charge, many more cycles than the other packs that are in Teslas. So there were some benefits. Now, the drawbacks are it's heavier, it's less dense, on and on. So there's pros and cons to an LFP chemistry battery pack versus the other battery packs that Tesla has in all its other vehicles. So we were definitely on board with LFP, and Tesla then, after rolling this out to all standard ranges, actually increased the battery pack by, I believe, 5 additional kilowatt hours in capacity. So now I believe it's 272 miles of range, which is pretty substantial for a standard range car. If you look across the industry, that's pretty well in line with the average car out there. So when we took delivery of this car, there were additional updates and upgrades that were coming that we wanted to take advantage of, and I at the time went ahead and placed another order for another base model Model 3. And the idea was, in a year down the road, this car would probably have a couple new features that we would want to have, plus that additional range. 253 versus 272 is a big difference, especially when you can use 100% of that pack. Now, what I didn't anticipate was how much we were going to benefit financially from this transaction that happened last year. So this is where I say this is a crazy story, because once we moved down to Florida, it was getting kind of close to time where we needed to start thinking about, what are we going to do with this order that we have? Are we just going to cancel it? We really like our Model 3, black on white, it looked great. It was a great car and it served its purpose very well. My wife actually was commuting from Orlando to Tampa daily, and we had no issues in doing so. With that in mind, I decided, let's find out how much this car is worth on the wholesale market. I don't want to deal with selling it to an individual and everything that goes into that. I just want to sell it for cash and be done with it. How much can we get? And this is where the story is going to start getting crazy, because I'm going to show you what all offers we got for that Model 3. Now, this was a 2021 Model 3 Standard Range Plus with the LFP battery pack, and it had 7,479 miles at the time that we sold it. So just a month or so ago, I started getting offers from all these online retailers you probably know about. Some of them you may not know about. And here's how it breaks down. I'm going to list this in order from the lowest offer to the highest offer. And if you pause the video right now, take a guess which offer was the lowest out there. So you probably guessed right, it is indeed Tesla gave the lowest, worst offer, and it wasn't by a small amount. It was a pretty substantial difference between Tesla's offer and the highest offer. So let's start there. Tesla offered us $41,600. And if you consider the fact that we bought this for $41,990 plus fees, that's actually a reasonable offer. But the problem for Tesla is that's not the market price for this car. So let's start moving through the other 5 offers that I got. The next offer came from Vroom, and it was $44,000, and I was kind of surprised it was so low from Vroom. The next offer was WeBuyAnyCar.com at $45,305, and the fourth offer was $47,654 from Carvana. Now the next 2 offers are, one of them's from a company that I just recently discovered, and another is from a company that I've highlighted in the past on this channel when we sold our Model Y. So the first offer is from Driveway at $50,167. Now we're talking, they're starting to get over $50,000, and this is starting to look like, man, we're going to make some money on this car. But it got even better because, like last year when we sold our Model Y, Car Buyer USA came with the best offer this time around, just like it did last time around. And after that video, I got a lot of questions about Car Buyer USA. So I was pleased to see that their offer was very good because I wanted to go through the process and show you what that's like. So Car Buyer USA's offer was $52,199. And it turns out after we went through everything, there was some sort of an adjustment in the computer. Maybe it was the day that they bought it, but it went up $130 by the time they actually bought the car. So our total offer from them was $52,329. So when you look at that, that is almost $9,000 more than we paid for the car, including the fees from Tesla. Now this doesn't include taxes because taxes are going to vary based on where you're at. If there are exemptions for EVs, if you have a trade-in, taxes gets very complicated, but just keep that in mind. Taxes are not included in this equation. It's the only thing not included in this. So about $9,000 more than we paid for this car at the end of the day, which is huge. So after I got that offer from Car Buyer USA and I was able to compare it to the others, it was a no-brainer. I'm going with Car Buyer USA. It was pretty simple. So on Friday, I got that offer, and on Saturday, I went ahead and scheduled a virtual appointment with Car Buyer USA. So they called me on Monday and walked me through their process. It was pretty straightforward conversation. They had already done a history report on the car to make sure it hadn't been any accidents and things like that. And then we went through their online portal, and you basically upload a number of pictures, and it gives you an example of what the picture should look like. You upload those into the portal, and that's it. And then you wait, and they'll give you a call back and let you know that the offer that they made you is still good, or if they find something in your pictures like, hey, it's missing a fender, that might be a problem, and your offer will probably be adjusted accordingly. So after submitting those pictures, everything was good to go, and they sent me a tag that I could take to FedEx or any shipping location to send the title in if I did want to move forward with the offer, which of course I did. So I took the title, put it in the mail, and the next day they had set up everything for the wire. Now I told them until that wire clears, I'm not going to let you pick up the car, which I think makes perfect sense. So after that wire cleared, we scheduled the pickup. So Monday I had my virtual appointment. Monday night I mailed out the title. The next day I got confirmation that the wire was on the way, and Wednesday morning, sure enough, I woke up to $52,329 being deposited into my account. So I did receive the funds for that pretty quick, basically one business day. Those funds were wired to me. Then the next day on Thursday, they came and picked up the car, and we said our goodbyes. And that was it. It was pretty easy. It could not have been simpler. I didn't have to deal with anybody. Funds just came automatically, and I didn't have to deal with the process. So if you are considering selling your Tesla, whether it's a Y, a 3, an S, and X, I highly, highly recommend checking out Car Buyer USA. Again, 2 for 2. They were absolutely the best offer out there. It couldn't have been easier to do. And yes, they are a legitimate company. You can check them out on the Better Business Bureau. I think they have like an A+. So they've been around for a while. They make this pretty easy, and because they don't have all the overhead of some of these other companies, they're able to make a more aggressive offer. So make sure to check out Car Buyer USA. Make sure to let them know who sent you there, and you'll be set, ready to go. Pretty quick and easy transaction. So after we made that decision, we did sell the car to Car Buyer Buyer USA. The next thing to do was, what do we do with our existing order? Right now we have a base model standard range on order in the system, but just recently Tesla made a policy change, and it was, once you place your order, you're now locked into an order book. So at the time of order, whatever the options were, whatever the prices were, that's what you're stuck with. So you don't have to worry about prices going up, which has always been the case. But if you did make one change, any change at all, it was going to update your pricing. So example, if you were to upgrade to the white interior after a while, it's going to then place you into the new pricing, which changes frequently. So I'm really happy that Tesla made this change, because what that means is I could make changes to my order and still have last year's price locked in. It wasn't just the price of the standard range. As a matter of fact, I still was able to get a long range and a performance at the pricing last year. So after a lot of consideration, a lot of thinking through this, I ultimately decided to go with a long range version. And I'll show you what those numbers look like. So again, I sold the car for $52,329. And after buying it for $43,440, it's almost $9,000 in profit. At the time that I placed my order for my standard range, I had locked in price book that allowed me to get a long range for $50,990. If you add in $1,200 in fees and $250 in the order fee, that's $52,440, $111 more than what I sold my standard range for, which is, in my opinion, a no-brainer. That's a lot more car for $111. Now, if you're gonna do it, my wife said she always wanted a red car, and every time she sees a red Tesla, she points it out. She really likes Tesla's red. So of course I did the right thing any husband would do, and I changed the color to red. Of course we went with the white interior. Love the white interior, continue to love the white interior, and have had great luck with it. So red on white it is, and I think it looks really awesome. So on June 8th, I did make that change to our order. We went from an estimated delivery time of October to December of 2022 to June 21st to 25th of 2022. So basically we almost immediately got matched. I think it was 2 days later I had a VIN, and we were going to be receiving our car the same month. Now it ended up being June 26th, so almost perfectly in line with that estimate for our new Model 3 to arrive. And it did arrive here in Florida. We got it on June 26th, and we've been enjoying it since. And this is where things continue to get crazy in this story. I had the price locked in, so I have last year's price, but as you know, prices have changed a lot since then. This car I ended up buying after the $1,200 and the $250 fee. I ended up paying $55,440 for this car, of course, plus taxes. And today, this same exact car, if you were to order it, would cost $62,440. So that's a $7,000 difference right there. So here's where, when you start to lump all this math together, the total outcome of the $9,000 in profit from selling the Model 3 to the $7,000 that we ended up saving on this car, it's almost $16,000 in car that I have now than when we first started out. So for a little bit more than $43,000, I now have a $62,000 car. So yes, there were some taxes involved in that, but we're not talking tens of thousands of dollars. And if you trade in, or in some locations you have no taxes on EVs, which is pretty cool. So your tax situation will be different depending on where you're at. But $15,000, $16,000 more car in today's money than when we bought last year, less than a year ago. So it's pretty amazing how that worked out. And last year when I did this, I was explaining to people in the Model Y that, you know, there was a period of time where people bought a standard range Model Y, they could sell it for a ton of money and get a long range for that same money. So by buying a standard range, you bought yourself a long range in the future. Now, anything can change, and the economy is very uncertain right now, so I don't want to make this sound like financial advice in any way, shape, or form, but I'm 2 for 2 now on selling a Tesla for quite a bit of money, and a lot of people, I don't think, realize that they could potentially be in a situation where they could upgrade their standard range to a long range for little to no money out of pocket. So depending on your situation and your goals, it may be something to look into. So again, Car Buyer USA continues to be the best offer. It's the best offer from last year. It's the best offer this year. So check them out. Let them know I sent you, and you should be able to look into your options and get a better feel for how is this going to work out for me? So that's the crazy story for you. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, give it the thumbs up. If you haven't already, of course, subscribe to the channel as we continue to post content regularly. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Bearded Tesla. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.